Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hai Fitri Lutz, Fitri Ishak, and Fitri Ismail. How are you today? Alhamdulillah, last week you have done the FOT 1 in this year, in this academic year. How was the result? Okay, now today we are going to come to a new chapter. Actually, we started this term with chapter 2. Now we move back to chapter 1. Okay? Alright, it's about fiction. Stories with familiar settings. What is that? Okay, let's learn chapter 1, everyone. You can prepare your textbook and open chapter 1. Alright, chapter 1 is about fiction. Do you remember what fiction is? Okay, and what is the difference between fiction and non-fiction? If it is in chapter 2, in the before FOT, you learned about instructional text, right? Is that a fiction or non-fiction? The instructional text? Yes, correct. That's a non-fiction. Okay, let's list down the differences between fiction and non-fiction text. Fiction text has a story or is a story. It has plot, setting, and characters that is created from imagination. Okay, what about non-fiction? Well, non-fictions are or is text that is based on facts. Okay, so it's true. It can be proven, okay? It is a true information. Alright, the second difference is, if it is in fictions, it is made or written for fun, for pleasure, okay? For entertainment. While non-fiction texts are made or written to give you information, for example, how to grow plants. It gives you information on how to grow plants, right? And fiction is unreal. It's imagination. It's a fantasy. While non-fiction, okay, are true and based on facts. And for example, you have learned instructional text and then books about types of animals. For example, books about tigers, books about pets, and news on TV that has happened. That what happened recently. You usually watch news on TV. Okay, now let's guess whether is this story fiction or non-fiction. The Ugly Duckling, do you think is this fiction or non-fiction? Yes, it's a fiction, because it's based on imagination. What about this? PM, stay at home. This is a national emergency. And there is also some more information at the bottom of the picture. Is this a fiction or non-fiction? Yes, this is a non-fiction because this is about news that give you information. What about this? You are currently reading this book with Mr. Izur in reading program, in reading lesson. Is this a fiction or non-fiction? Don Quixote by Miguel de Cervantes. Yes, it's a fiction. What about this? How to make a dumper truck. There are some materials that you need and then there are some methods or steps that you need to follow. Is it fiction or non-fiction? Yes, that is a non-fiction. And what type of text is that? Do you remember? Yes, it's an instructional text. It's still fresh on our mind. What about this one? Many of you really like this movie or this story, right? Including me. Is this fiction or non-fiction? Yes, this is fiction. Why? Because in our real world, there is no kind of heroes like this, right? Okay. Alright, today let's learn a fiction in chapter 1, everyone. On page 8, please get ready with your textbook. Okay, you can see also the page 8 here. But let's move on to... Okay, this is the genre of the text. Stories with familiar settings. What are stories with familiar setting? Look, you can see there is a school bus, yeah? And 2 children. And where are they going? Do you think? They are going to school probably, right? Okay. But before that, let's discuss about a story. And a story usually has these things. The first one are characters. Do you know what characters are? And settings. Okay, go to the characters first. What are characters? This is the meaning. They are people, or could be animal, or anything that moves and speaks dialogue in a story. Yeah, that moves or speaks dialogue in a story. And what are the examples of characters? If in the book of Don Quixote, the characters are Don Quixote itself, Sancho, and Rocinante. And what about setting? What is setting? It is a place or time in the story. Okay, place or time. Okay, so where and when the story happened. For example, the story could happen in the morning, in the afternoon, summer, or winter. So it's about the place or time? Time, correct. Or it could be a place too, right? For example, in the school, in the playground, at the park, or at the hospital. Anywhere. Okay, so let's go back to a story with familiar settings. What is it? The meaning is, it is a story that takes place in a familiar place. What does it mean by a familiar place? It is a place that we know and we recognize. What are the examples of familiar settings? Okay, home, school, playground. You are already familiar with these three places or these 3 settings, right? Okay, now let's open again textbook page 8 to 11 for today. And let's open page 10 and 11. You are going to read this text, okay? And look, there is a picture of, who is this? Probably a mother, and then her son, yeah? And what is he wearing? A backpack, yeah? Or a satchel, and then he's bringing something to catch on bugs or butterflies perhaps, and there is an old man. Yeah, can you guess what happened? And then look at the next picture. The boy, okay, is going on the bus. Sekolah. So, can you guess where the setting of this story? Is it in Indonesia? Okay. Now, let's move on to the word cloud. You may find this word cloud in the word list too, yeah, for this week. The first one, look, rattly. It means suara mendesis. Rattly, yeah, it is an adjective. Satchel, it is a noun. It's
Oxford International English, Level 3, Unit 1, Fiction.
Fiction Reading Part 1. Abdullah's Morning. Each day, as Abdullah sets off for school, he shrugs into the straps of his satchel and snatches up his butterfly net from beside the door. His mother puts in papaya and banana and flat pancakes for his lunch. She smooths his hair and tells him to study hard and listen to the teacher because she wants him to do better than weave baskets and catch butterflies for the rest of his life. But grandfather reaches for his hand as he is going out the door and whispers in his ear, "Catch me a butterfly today, Abdullah. A big green butterfly, if you can." And Abdullah knows that grandfather is hungry for the porridge that he likes so much because his teeth are all gone. Abdullah rode down early to the town as usual in the rattly old yellow school bus with the tall black writing on its side. Sakola, it says, school. As the bus bumped and swerved down the mountain, Abdullah kept watch out of the window, twirling his net gently in his hands, hoping to be lucky enough to see a large, bright butterfly. Abdullah studied hard, as his mother told him. He studied maths and English and faraway countries. He wrote carefully in his book and listened to Mr. Ginyan, but all the while he kept one eye watching out the window for a butterfly for grandfather. From Abdullah's Butterfly by Janine M. Fraser and Kim Gamble.
Satchel, it is a noun. It means tas, yeah, or the synonym is backpack. Next, shrugs, yeah. When you move your satchel or backpack like this, you shrug, okay? Menggerakkan bahu, it's a verb. And then snatches, it is also a verb. It means mengambil, to take out something, yeah, hurriedly. And then weave, okay, menenun, it is also a verb. Okay, you can find the other 5 words in the word list week 8. Alright, and this is the glossary. The glossary is like a small dictionary of the text or of the story that contains the most important words of the story. You can read this out, yeah, and you can also find this in your word list. Butterfly, porridge, or a food made by boiling oatmeal or to a thick paste or bubur, or swerved, turn or change direction suddenly. Okay, turn or change direction suddenly. Alright, it's time for reading the story, everyone. The title is Abdullah's Morning. It can be found in your textbook, page 11 or 10 and 11 again. And after this, Miss Rene will provide you the audio of the story together with the text. You can listen to it on how to pronounce the words correctly, and you can also understand it. Okay, please understand the story. Good job if you have listened to the story and you can read it again to understand it even better. Yeah, don't forget, after this, please do the word word game in the second instruction in the Google Classroom, and the third instruction is to study the word list and rewrite the spellings. Okay, if you have a printer at home, you can print it out and do it directly there. But if you don't have any printer, don't worry, just study the word list and rewrite the words in your notebook. And don't forget, what to submit to Google Classroom is your picture of your word list week 7, and the screenshot of your word wall game. Okay, thank you so much, Fitri Sujens, Fitri Lut, Fitri Ismail, Fitri Ishak. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.